Hey there everybody, this is Ed and welcome back to another edition of Bagel and Booze. As you can see from the background, we're celebrating New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, whatever you want to call it, here on Bagel and Booze. For today's review, I kind of thought maybe I might be able to try to do a review for the holiday, much like we did last week with cookies for Christmas. But unfortunately, couldn't really find any beers that would kind of fit the mood for that. I could have did something like Prosecco or Champagne. You know, it is Bagel and Booze, but that stuff's really not up my alley, and frankly, it all kind of tastes the same to me. So with this one, we're going to reach back into the heart of summer to bring something into the heart of winter. We'll see how it works out. Who knows? Might be good, might be bad, might just be a bad idea all around. So we're going to go ahead and get into that, but before we do, make sure you click on that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with the latest beer reviews. And once we get back into the new year, we'll start bringing up some the more you know moments. So let's get started. This week's review, we got a Backyard Brew coming to us. I could have probably maybe did a crap I found in the back of my fridge, because looking on the bottom of the can, it was canned in May of 2023, so that's almost 7 months at this point. But we're going to keep it as a Backyard Brew, specifically because of the fact that this is coming from Iron Hill Brewery. It's a local brewery that first set up here in Delaware. They're now brewed over the state line in PA. But what we have from them, it is their Orange Creamsicle. It's a Milkshake IPA, clocks in at about 7%. They label it as a hazy, juicy, creamy, double-hopped ale. It's brewed with blood orange vanilla for obviously the orange creamsicle side of things, and lactose for the milkshake side of things. Go figure. This is a beer that they first produced and brewed back in 2021, not too long ago. But this sold out very quickly in about 3 weeks time frame for them, because it was a limited run for them. 2022, they decided that they're going to double down. They made this available out through all their restaurants and tap rooms. Combine the two there, so a little flub. Restaurant and tap room locations in Delaware, PA, and New Jersey, along with beer, wine, and liquor retailers, depending on what state you're in. You get it from different places. Iron Hill, as I said, it is a Backyard Brew, definitely for me, because they got their start here in Newark, Delaware back in 1996. Now they have over 20 locations in Delaware, New Jersey, PA, South Carolina, and even Georgia. And as I said, this is brewed over the state line, because in 2020 they set up a full-scale production brewery right up the road in Exton, PA, where they do all their brewing, canning, bottling, what have you, for distribution in the tri-state area. So we're going to go ahead and get this one poured out, get the taste test it, sniff test it, and find out if it will chug.
I drink and I know things.
There we got everything all poured out, and as we kind of see, it's got just a little bit of a head on here. It sets up nothing too huge, kind of thinning out pretty quickly, but it is a good, nice, kind of cloudy, slightly hazy. I'd call it more cloudy in my mind. Good, nice, kind of orange coloring that comes to it. Sniff test. Getting a good bit whiff of the orange, a little bit of the vanilla, not so much, more of the orange, which I guess it's living up to the billing, if we said, of the orange creamsicle thing. But it's got a nice, sweet smell. Definitely the orange, the blood orange, is very prevalent. I guess slight kind of grapefruity smell, which I'm going to attribute off to the hazy IPA side of things. A lot of those, they taste like grapefruit to me. It's just the way I pick it up. You might catch something different. Not too bad on the initial kind of sniff test. It's what we would kind of expect. Nothing kind of overt, not getting real kind of the pine hoppiness that we get with other IPAs. Smells kind of clean. Nice little bit of floral overtone that's in there as well. So let's go ahead and give it the old taste test and see if we get something a little different. Ooh, that's pretty good. The initial kind of hit, it is definitely the orange is prevalent there. Again, not so much on the vanilla. It sets up very nicely. Good mouthfeel that is there. Not really getting anything on kind of the backside that we get with some of the other beers. Very well balanced. Nothing is overpowering. I'm not getting a huge kind of alcohol taste. I don't know how you would classify that, but you kind of get like that beer alcohol kind of taste that's in there. This definitely is the orange and vanilla is definitely a lot more pronounced in connection with this. We'll give it another swig. Usually we get a little something different on the additional taste test out of the initial. Let's see if we get something a little bit else that comes through. I'm not really getting anything that changes off of this. It is a good balance. It's slight sweetness, good silky mouthfeel, which we would expect with the lactose brewing. In that the orange just sits up very nicely. It's got a good kind of balance on there. I was expecting something kind of completely different. It's actually a little bit dangerous in my mind in the fact that I'm not really getting much in an alcohol taste with this beer. This is definitely something that could be very dangerous, sneak up and kind of kick you in the ass when you don't expect it. You drink a few of these, 7%, you don't know what's going to hit you until it's too late. Yeah, so it definitely is one of those beers you're gonna have to be careful of. I'll give it another sip here before we give it off a rating. And yeah, I'm not finding much that's bad on this one. This is kind of a surprise find. I thought maybe even with it sitting a while, it might be a little different, not so good. Still clean and fresh after 7 months. This is definitely a decent beer, and for a rating, I really have no choice. I do have a choice on my show, but we're going to give this a solid 5 out of 5 bagels. Again, I cannot find really anything wrong with this one. It may not appeal to everybody if you're, I guess, maybe not an orange fanatic. You don't like that type of flavoring. It definitely has a very pronounced, blood orange taste that's there. So if you're not really into that, maybe you may not see it, and I would rate it lower in that. But for me, it does very well. I think, again, the danger factor there of having no real kind of overbearing like alcohol present, for lack of a better term, is I don't know if that's a good thing, a bad thing, or what have you. The orange, the vanilla, the smooth silkiness of this sets it all up very nicely. And that's why we're giving this out a 5 out of 5 bagels in this one. Again, I'm not a huge IPA guy, so I came into this with reservations and they were blown away. So there's only one thing left to do in connection with this, and that's to find out if this thing will chug. I'll be interested to see if those flavor profiles really come blasting through, see if anything happens. So let's go ahead, get things reset, and get to chugging. So we got everything all poured back out, got as much as I could top back into the beer. We got almost a whole pint that's back in the glass. It was after we took our couple taste tests of the beer. One thing I did notice, and it didn't catch me until I looked over to grab the beer, is the mascot of this guy. He's a hophead. Right now he looks like a brickhead because the green is bleeding through him, the green screen. It is what it is. We deal with what we deal with here in the studio. We're not here to talk about that technical side of things. We're here to find out if this thing's going to chug. We're going to go ahead. I don't know. I'm a little worried that it's going to be just a massive blast of the orange. It might prevent us from finishing the chug, but there's only one way to find out. Bottoms up. Ooh. Struggle a little there at the end, but it will chug. And, oh, yes, sirree. The orange and the vanilla just came blasting through. It did make it a little difficult there at the end. Again, it was a little bit of a struggle. Much as I expected, the orange just intensified and ramped up. It went to 11.
One louder.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
But it's not a bad thing. It didn't detract from it. It's not taking it. We're not going to knock down the initial rating. It just was a very intense kind of burst of orange and the vanilla coming through. If you're not somebody that enjoys kind of the orange flavor profiles, this beer is not going to be for you. If you don't mind that and you don't mind the orange, the intense orange flavor, this one will definitely appeal to you. This is definitely a good summertime beer. Hell, even in the middle of winter, it's not too terrible. It's one could, if you even want to go so far, breakfast beer. You got orange in connection with it. I don't know. We're making a stretch here on Bagel and Booze. It is what it is. But all in all, pretty impressed with this. Again, not being an IPA guy, we all know I like my porters and stouts and lagers, but this one definitely set up very well. Completely surprised us. I can see why this thing sold out in record time in a 3-week period, and they had to kind of ramp production up. If you can find it, obviously right now in the middle of winter, you may not, but if you're local to the area, find it during summer, I highly recommend it. And with that, this is done. I'm done. We're done. And I thank you again for tuning in to another edition of Bagel and Booze. And everybody have a happy and safe New Year, and we'll catch you later. Thanks all.